Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Coffee and Conversation with myself, Mr. John, and I'm joined this week also by our Senior Deputy Head of Secondary School, Ms. Capreet. Mr. Ian is away in Abu Dhabi on a British Schools Overseas inspection as part of that. So, Sabah al Khair. And a reminder that the sessions are recorded and will be posted later, but also please do post your questions in the chat. We'll give us a chance to read through and respond to them as well. So thank you. Well, it has been, as always, a very busy time here at Founders School. Not least, as you know, we've had our progress test series happening for our years 3 up through the school. And I'm pleased to say that they are now pretty much over. I'm saying pretty much because there will be 1 or 2 little catch-ups, I think, for people who weren't able to do it. And information about those will be sent out later. However, what it does mean for the whole school is that come next Sunday, everybody's back in as per our normal colour bubble timetable. So I'm very pleased about that. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Ms. Capreet now. I know she's got a few updates from secondary, and then I will join you towards the end for some additional updates for the primary. So over to you, Ms. Capreet. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you there, Mr. John, and good morning to everybody. It's a pleasure to be joining you this morning, replacing Mr. Ian. Just a handful of notices to share with yourselves this morning. Starting off in Key Stage 3, there's been a significant amount of work that's been done to help support our Year 6 students that are currently in Year 6, moving up into Year 7 next year. Over the last couple of weeks, this has included a range of taster lessons. We had the parent information session. What I wanted to share with yourselves today was the fact that there is a live Padlet for our Year 6 students to ask peers in Year 9 any questions they may still already have. In addition to this, Miss Rebecca Day, who's been appointed our Head of Year 7 for next year, is also going to be meeting with each of the students in a live call over the coming week and a half. So again, if there's any questions that your child may have, or any concerns or issues that they'd like to be addressed, that'll be another opportunity for them to be able to speak to somebody within the secondary team to ensure they have all the information that they need, so that it can help support their transition from Year 6 into Year 7. My next notice is merely just a thank you to all the parents of students in Year 9 and Year 11. And this is for the submission of all the option forms that we've managed to gather over the last couple of months. It also is a gentle reminder for any Year 11s going into Year 12s. If you haven't completed your option form or submitted it, please do so. There is an email address at the very bottom of the form itself. As soon as we have that information, we can ensure we've allocated teachers to the right amount of classes, etc. So it's vital bits of information that we need in order for us to plan for the next academic year. For our Year 11 to 13 teachers, it's been an incredibly busy time with us collating evidence to establish fair and accurate tags and school assessed grades as well, which has essentially been a little bit different to the process that we led last year, focusing heavily on the evidence that we've got in front of us. So we're at a point now where we've established our grades. We're at a point where the SLT are going through these grades this week with the view of these then being submitted to the examination board next week. Since then, Year 12 lessons have now resumed again. So we're now moving into the A2 content and students are working towards completing their A level. So just a gentle reminder, if you've got a child in Year 12, please do encourage them to attend all of their lessons now moving forward, because as I said, we have started A2 content, which we may not have the opportunity to revisit until later on towards the end of the next academic year before the exams. And just my final notice is just regarding the Year 11 and 13 programme that's currently in place. We've got a 4-week programme which is called Your Future, Your Choice. It's essentially just preparing students with skills they will need once they leave us at GFS. And I know this week's focus has been CV writing. So again, it's just to kind of share that bit of information with you to ensure that your students are maximising the support that we're providing here for them at GFS. And essentially, that's pretty much all my reminders. I'm just going to hand back to Mr. John and see if there's any questions that were published that I need to address. Thank you, Mr. John.
Thank you, Ms. Capri, and hello again, everybody. So, as always, as we head towards the end of the year, the time of year when everybody wishes it to slow down, unfortunately, it just gets busier and busier as we aim to wrap everything up and finish off getting ready for the summer break. So, with that in mind, end of year reports will be due out at the end of June. They will again be posted on GEMS Connect directly into the students' accounts. I'm just having a little glance over at my calendar as we go through our transition weeks. As Ms. Capri mentioned, we had a very good meeting yesterday with many of our new teachers who will be joining us in September. As we know, we do have a little bit of an expansion, but obviously we are in a transitional place as well, living here in Dubai, and teachers do come and go. And obviously gives an opportunity for some new fantastic teachers to be joining us as well. So we'll be going through those moments of goodbye and thank yous as we move towards the end of the term. But it's entirely natural for people to be kind of moving on. In fact, we encourage it in many ways for people to be coming into the school, working here for a few years, and then building their experience, and then moving on and hopefully then to within the GEMS group. And equally, and we pick up those experienced teachers from other things. People bring new ideas, different ways of doing things, and it's all good. And it's an entirely natural kind of good part of teaching, especially in the international context. One question that has popped in, nothing to confirm if next year. Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, yes, as I have seemed to be saying each week, we are waiting for those updates in terms of the ministries and the authorities, the DHA, the KSDA, and there has been nothing so far from them. As I do again seem to say every week, we are held to a slightly different set of standards, as you will see, and the most obvious kind of notice of that, as you see, is that we are still keeping our temperature checks and the thermal cameras here on every entrance here in school. All the malls, all the hotels, lots and lots of other places, they disappeared a long time ago, but they are still in place here for schools. But as soon as we do have some kind of word from them, some indication, or definitely some confirmation, then we will of course be letting you know. What I can promise you is that we will be trying our very best to make sure that as many students as possible will be joining with us in September. We really do appreciate everybody's efforts. As a parent myself, I fully understand the commitment and the effort that has taken place and the support of all our families here we go, within our school community. And it's only through those efforts that it's just been a successful year as it has been. Which brings me on to my final point. As I hope you are aware, a link for our summer survey has come out to you. And we really do value what our parent community has to say. So having followed up with a few people on the phone this week, it's been quite a surprise for some people that we do actually read the comments, and we do look at the scores as well. We do take these things seriously, as yes, it's always nice to know, is the question which I know is on the survey says, what do we do well? That's always nice to know that you are doing certain things well. But what is very important is the other question that pops up there, the what can we do to improve? And that is something that we do look closely at as well. And definitely in terms of the score. Just to explain why you're asked to give us a score, it gives us something called a net promoter score. Now, my apologies if you're fully conversant with how these things work, but for those of you that aren't sure, I'll just explain. You're asked to give us a score between 0 and 10. And what it does is it breaks the kind of the background system, as it were, of the survey, breaks this down, and so ranks anything that is a 9 or a 10. We consider you, or the survey considers you, a promoter, which is fantastic. Somebody who will go out and spread the good word of GFS, and we know that we have many promoters here in school, as I'm often told by parents that they are here because their friends were here and they passed on the good word, and I always say very much thank you for that. People who give us a 7 or 8 are known as passive, and I'll explain why in a moment. Because the people who give us a 0, for whatever reason, to 6, and those are the people that we're also very interested in finding out a little bit more of, you are known as our detractors. So our net promoter score is basically it's the difference between the amount of people who are giving us a 9 or a 10 and the amount of people who are giving us a 0 to 6. So it's very nice to know that people who've given us a 7 or an 8, that you feel, I would say, in many cases, you feel that we're doing a good job, which is lovely to know. But unfortunately for us, it doesn't really impact our survey in any way. So what I would ask everybody to do is kind of have a think about the extremes. So, you know, love us all, a bit like Marmite. If you're from the UK, you'll know what I mean. It's Marmite. It's something I love, but I know lots of people hate. You know, it's a spread, a vegetable yeast spread that goes on your toast. But all our survey responses are valued, and we thank you very much for all of those. I'm just going to have a little flick through. Thank you. I can see a couple more questions have popped through. I haven't had a chance to have a look at them now. Ms. Capri, I'll pass to you because I think you have had a chance to read through. Let me see if there's anything there. Thank you, everybody.
No problem. There's been a message here from a parent.
Oh, hold on, Ms. Capri. You're on now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. It's just been a message. It's not necessarily a question to say about the initiative for the Year 11s. We have shared the 4-week programme with the students themselves, so you'll be able to see the schedule and the kind of the upcoming webinars and sessions that the form tutors are really taking a lead on here. So essentially, again, it's just trying to incorporate different skills that perhaps are not embedded within our normal curriculum to ensure that our students are prepared for life outside of GFS. So there was just some feedback there that I thought I'd address. There's a question here regarding final tests in Year 4 and 7. Regarding Year 7, I mean, assessment takes place in every single lesson, and that continues to happen throughout the academic year. So whether it's a home learning task or whether it's an activity or a project, you know, students will be continuously assessed. And when you do get your reports that Mr. John referred to at the beginning of this coffee morning, it will be an holistic grade, which is not solely based on the performance of the student in one assessment. And it's really important for you to understand that as parents, that, you know, we're not just basing it on just one piece of evidence. We'll be looking at how the students are performing holistically across the whole academic year. So we will not have essentially final tests at the end of the academic year as such. Assessment will just continue like it has done throughout the year up to the end of the term. Just going to have a little look to see whether there's any other questions. Doesn't seem to be any coming in, which I guess is a good sign.
Pass back to me. Right, well, thank you very much, Ms. Capri. This is it. Yes, in terms of that, any other questions, the first port of call always, especially in primary school, is your child's class teacher. So with reference to the question that Ms. Capri just referenced there, the further test GL assessments for Year 6, for Year 4s, please do contact your children's class teachers. There may just be those last couple of, as Ms. Capri has sent, you know, those last couple of assessments within class. There's nothing major planned. That was our series of progress tests. But for final confirmation, do please check your child's or check with your child's class teacher. Its assessment is something that, as Ms. Capri said, for secondary, but also applies to primary. It is ongoing through every lesson, every week, and looking at where the children are in terms of the objectives that were set during the lesson and during the week, during the month, during the term, and of course over the year as well. Okay, so thank you very much. But of course, any direct questions, normal point, please go straight to your child's class teacher. I'm just going to wait one more minute. We will continue with blended learning 100% at school next year. I've answered this earlier on, so this may be someone who's just joined us as well. When we do get updates from the authorities, we will of course be letting everybody know. I do believe that 100%, blended learning, remote learning, I should say, will be an option for people. I think the KSJ will ask us all to do that, and every school will be asked to do that. What I can say is we will be trying our best and working very hard to ensure that as many students as possible will be joining us in September. Now, I need to be very careful and clear with what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that we have had notification. We are still waiting for that as to what exactly our program will look like. But what we hope and what we're working very hard to do is to get as many students back in the building as possible as well. And again, we thank everybody for all their support, for you, for all your support this year as well. We do appreciate the demands that everybody has been under. It's been a most trying 18 months really, and we do of course hope you're all safe, all well, especially your families and wider families as well. Well, 9:15. Thank you. I don't think we've had any questions come in for a little while, so I'm going to draw this week's Coffee and Conversation to a close. I'm going to carry on with my cup of tea, and just before it gets cold as well. But I'd like to wish you all a very good week, and please stay safe. So from all of us here at GFS, from Ms. Capreet, myself, goodbye. Thank you.